Give it back. Give it back.
Sorry I didn't do good enough. I wish I had a pool in my backyard. Oh my god, swimming on a day like today.
Mike Riccoboni used to live in. His dad is a private detective. Really cool. The Pappases moved in here. I never really knew them. They were a little younger than me, so I didn't particularly like them. The Agostinis lived here. They were builders. Anyhow, this right here, I'll get some better footage of them in. This is a house I grew up in. I'd say, you know, I started jacking off when I was about 10 or 11. And I lived there until I was 16. So those are prime years, prime masturbation years. I'm sure I jacked off in the house, my God, at least 1,000 times, maybe more. Yeah. There used to be a woods behind it. Now the woods is gone. It looks like they're building houses there. This is the woods I wrote about in my song from the school album, The Woods. And oh
yeah, I remember.
Oh, I'm sorry. I had my ramps out here. A popular thing to happen was when I would get home from my guitar lesson, my mom would drive me home from my guitar lesson and my whole group of friends would be waiting. Oh, because they want to hang out with me? Not exactly, because I was the one who always had weed and I introduced them all to it. And so they would be waiting there. And my mom always thought, oh, that's so nice, your friends are coming to meet you. And really, they were just like, when's that motherfucker getting back? We want to get high. One time, I thought it would be funny. Me and I think my friend Dave, we filled an entire yard waste container, like the big ones. We filled it up with water, and I was like, this will be funny. And I was like, the next thing I'll do is I'll take it and I'll push it down the driveway, which if you can imagine, I'm going to estimate that was at least, had to be well over 50 gallons of water. So just imagine what would happen if you tried to stick your foot in the thing and tip it backwards. It basically just pummeled me to the ground and went, and everybody laughed but me. I didn't get hurt too bad. Yeah, I had the ramp out front. I would always ride my bike here. Right there in that area, me and two other neighborhood boys were sitting in a pool, okay? And I said, guys, why don't we all show each other our dicks? I was young, you know, I'm not trying to shed any culpability here. It was my suggestion, so I said, guys, why don't we show each other our penises? One of them, who we'll just call Jim Jam was like, all right, let's do it. And then Blado didn't want to do it. And at that point, I started pressuring Blado to do it. And Jim Jam joined in. And we were both just like, come on, Blado, you have to do it. We're all going to do it. You have to do it. We're all going to show each other our dicks. And so it happened. We all pulled our little wing-wongs out, showed them to each other. And it turned out, right after, Jim Jam's mom was in the window watching the whole thing take place, silently observing, not intervening. If, God forbid, she should have a problem with something these kids are doing. It's only natural.
You pressured a kid to pull his dick out.
We're kids. You do that.
Yeah, I know.
And so she called my mom, of course. I got in a lot of trouble. Another favorite memory of this era was there was a big birthday party happening here, and some kid's underwear was like weirdly hanging out and like up, and like his pants were half down. What happened there? I don't know. Nothing to do with me. I was just a kid at the time. And I said to him, I don't know his name. It was Jim Jam's cousin. I didn't even know him. It's just, there's, you know, they always birthday party. There's fucking kids from all over the place. And I just said, hey, just so you know, your underwear is showing. I don't know. And all of a sudden they were like, you're perverted. You pervert. You're perverted. And so after enough minutes of that, I ran home crying, which was right across the street. I didn't have to run far. And then later, some dear soul sent a piece of cake over. But just the cruelty of these kids, man.
Yeah.
So let's finish this saga out. Down at the end of the street, they don't live there anymore. Let's just call the girl who lived there Janene Bartolomello. A lot of Italians.
A lot of Italians. What were you guys doing in here?
I mean, yeah. So, anyhow, listen. This girl, eventually, I guess between telling a kid his underwear was hanging out and it looked like he just got fucking raped, and sharing, forcing, suggesting that we all show each other our dicks, as you do when you're kids. So the word got out, and so I was at school one day, and I knew this. I knew something had happened. I was at school, and Janene Bartolomeu was with another girl, and I think I was just hanging out and talking to him. One of her friends started talking to me, and quickly, Janene Bartolomeu went into the other girl's ear and whispered something while looking at me, and they both like started sulking away, and I was like, what's going on? What is this? And she was like, Janelle, who says that we're not allowed to talk to you because you're a bad kid. And I was like, oh my god, I'm bad. So this whole neighborhood, by the way, Janelle Bartolomeu's dad, one time I was playing with my Christian rock band, age 13, and he came over. He was just standing outside, and he was just like, it's fucking loud. And I was like 12 or 13 at the time. He got in trouble for that. All right, last story. I was in 7th grade, maybe 8th grade. I had a real enemy. His name was Brian Russell, we'll call him, okay?
Okay.
Real enemy. And I was, at the time, I was building bombs. I'm not going to disguise it. I had access to gunpowder, I had access to bird bomber, and me and my buddy would build pipe bombs, fucking shrapnel. At the time, there was a website called Jolly Roger where you could basically learn how to build all kind of bombs. Tennis ball bombs. Mm-hmm. So we basically build these bombs and go ignite them in the woods or throw them at a house that was being built. And some of them were truly dangerous, especially once you get into building pipe bombs with like gas pipe caps and like threaded pipe. You could easily lose a hand or blow your fucking eyes out or something. Anyhow, one time we got a bunch of shrapnel in our backs. But here's the story. So I was telling my buddy, it was like, my new plan, Egan, is to build a bomb, maybe a pipe bomb, maybe a tennis ball bomb, and I'm going to throw it at Brian Russell's house. And, good friend that Egan was, he went and told them. And so I was going, this is the end of the story, I was going to my guitar lesson one day in my mom's Toyota Camry, passenger seat, pulling down the driveway, when who should pull up but a car filled with Brian Russell's brother, who I ended up being good friends with later, Mikhail Mushahre, and I don't remember who the third one was, which is kind of shocking to me right now. Anyhow, so they pull up, and to me, my horror, and to my mom's total shock, they pop the trunk on the car and take out baseball bats and golf clubs and start approaching the driveway where we're pulling out, where I'm about to go to my little cute guitar lesson. And my mom doesn't roll down the window all the way, and she's like, what is this? She's pissed. She's like, what is this? And he's like, he said he's gonna bomb our house. I'm gonna fucking kick his ass. And like, he went to try and punch me, but it's like the window wasn't open enough to get a fist through, so he kind of just punched the car. And immediately, of course, she called the police, told them I'm calling the police. They got back in their car. She followed them back to their house, which was like one subdivision over. The cops came. This was pre-9/11, pre-Columbine, pre-everything actually scary. So the fact that I had actually made a bomb threat really made no difference.
Yeah.
It was very like, they didn't give a fuck.
I was gonna ask if you were scared, because like now terrified. You could have like gone to jail.
I can't believe, they also like expel you and suspend you. Nothing happened. All that happened was the cops wanted to find out what happened. It was fucking kids. What are you gonna do? And then my mom was like, and I think it would be nice if they all shook hands. So we all shook hands and kind of laughed. And then the best part of the story, I think, the very next day on the bus, I was talking to Brian Russell. He was like, so you smoke dope? And I was like, yeah, dude. And actually, no, he's not the first, but he's a kid who, after I had tried smoking weed for the first time, I was getting high with him all the time, and he was like sharing his weed with me. He had those parents where they're just gone all the time or didn't give a fuck. So we listened to Bone Thugs and Harmony, Jadakiss, and a bunch of other shit I didn't really like, but it was so much fun to get high there. Anyhow, so we're sitting on the bus. We're talking, oh, you smoke weed? Yeah, I smoke weed too. And all of a sudden, we're sitting next to each other, and like some sort of fucked up, creepy golem-like imp, Egan Flahamung, who had originally caused this ruckus by telling Brian Russell that I had threatened to bomb his house, creeped up on the seat in front of us and said, "A friendship is born." Yeah, so that's the story. I apologize for slavery. There's the house. There it is in all of its splendor.
Your ancestors were Jewish. So.
All of its beauty. I'll get it. I can't do that smooth at all. Let me try though.
Oh.
Who lives there? There's the Castellano family.
They have a crazy mailbox out there.
Yeah, pretty crazy mailbox. Michael Castellano and his parents, of course, sisters.
Kind of sticks out.
Now this is always a weird place.
What the fuck?
So this was a group home for many years, which is kind of surprising to hear.
Did you get drugs there?
Tara, somebody or other lived here, and then one time they told me to go to the Wired Frog. Actually, Warrington lived here. One day she was like skateboarding and she got a scrape, and Bruce gave me a Band-Aid to give to her. So it'd be, yeah, I kind of did. And then this is where Mike Riccobono used to live before he moved to our street. One good thing happened right there, which was that I think we shaving creamed a kid, and his dad came out and like pushed us off our bikes and said if we ever came back he would kick the fuck out of us. Now, not many Jews around here, that's a certainty, but there was a Jew here for a while, a friend of my dad's named Jerry Rosen. This is the house of my longtime best friend, Steve Leremias.
I hate that copper.
This is the house of somebody who turned out to be, in the end, what was one of my best friends for many years, and really just turned out to be a total piece of shit. I'm sorry to say it. And his name was Moat Jokelson. Moat Jokelson.
He was Asian?
Yes, he was Asian, actually. Now, down here there was a whole different breed of bad kids lived out here, because this was one of my best friend's house growing up, which I've pretty much all but lost touch with him completely. Was exiled from him and his family.
They have a pool?
They got a pool surrounded by those arborvitaes. But here you had the house of Newt and Stav Boholsen. And they were some bad kids, man. I mean, they always had porn. They would straight up drive to the bus stop and sell me drugs so that I could sell drugs to other people and get high on my own supply, break the golden rule of drug dealing. A lot of interesting times. When this house was being built, we threw a fucking tennis ball bomb at it. It was scary. It was alarming. The actual size of the fireball seemed like something out of a practical, like, it was some sort of actual pyrotechnic thing you would see in, like, Waterworld. It was fucking scary. I feel like that's kind of enough. Here's Alex's house. Now, further down there, it's not even worth going, but that was the zone of where you could kind of, like, meet girls that were never going to give you the time of day.
So they're just hanging out like stray cats?
No, but all of a sudden there was, like, a bunch of girls who lived there.